Welcome to MMA on the Rocks. My name is Bill Welker. You are listening to episode 150 of the podcast, if you can believe that. Today is Sunday, July the 21st, and we are coming off of a big card on ESPN, the fourth one to be exact. Rafael Dos Anjos and Leon Edwards. Before we get into that, I have a couple of announcements. I was on the post-fight show for SB Nation with Flying Brian J last night, so thanks to Flying Brian for having me on there. He's been asking me to do it for a while, but with the kiddo, I can't stay up so late because he does it immediately following the card. So you can check that out on SB Nation MMA on YouTube. Thanks again for having me on there. That was a good time with Brian. And we got Billy Quarantillo from Gracie Tampa South fighting on the Contender Series this Tuesday. So don't forget to tune in for that. Let's get the streaming numbers up for Billy. He's been busting his ass in the gym. And if you guys don't remember, Billy Quarantillo was on season 22 of The Ultimate Fighter. So you can, after you're done listening to this, you could dial back to episode 148 and listen to my interview with him and see what he's been up to since The Ultimate Fighter. And then definitely tune in Tuesday. He's the first fight. So that's at 8 p.m. sharp on ESPN+. All right, now we got the housekeeping stuff out of the way. Let me first introduce our guest who's joining us again. And the last time she was on was way back in December, episode 117. It has been way too long. But she's back, and she's feeling much better than the last time we spoke because she was just coming off of shoulder surgery. Let me introduce professional mixed martial artist all the way from Las Vegas, Nevada, the Southpaw Outlaw, Zilla, Serena DeJesus. Serena, how you feeling on this? Well, your Vegas time, Sunday morning.
It's great. It's nice and balmy and warm. Balmy 108 over here, so I gotta go running in this later. Oh, it's fine. You get used to it. It's not like you guys where you have like state birds, as mosquitoes over there.
Yeah.
That's the one beautiful thing about the desert life. We don't have to deal with that or that humidity that makes you look like Mufasa. Oh, speaking of that, I'm seeing The Lion King, so fitting. But yeah.
Nice. We're gonna need a report on that.
I got my homie Roxy who just came home today saying "woo" in the background. We always do buddy stuff together. I'm happy she's home. I missed her.
Well, a big welcome home to Roxanne Modafferi after a hard-fought fight last night in San Antonio. Already back in Vegas. I definitely want to pick your brain about that one because I know you have some behind-the-scenes information. But let me introduce my co-host as well, all the way from muggy New Jersey, sitting in a heat wave right now with no air conditioning.
Oh,
Jeff,
no.
the Animal Wilson. Jeff, how you feeling on this muggy Sunday afternoon, my friend?
Bill, we've been live for about 2 minutes, and I'm drenched in sweat, dude. I can't deal with this shit. It's not a dry heat. It's super muggy. Yesterday it was like 100 and something. But Bill, I'll deal with it for now. It's whatever. I mean, I'll take the winter with the summer, so it's fine. I need all 4 seasons, so it's fine.
Hashtag thoughts and prayers.
Jeff, there's no progress without suffering. You know this as well as anyone. Although
I gotta trust the process, Bill.
I have to tell everybody, I told Jeff he couldn't keep his fan on because it was giving too much feedback.
Oh no!
So I'm gonna have to pay him double this week. So Serena, let's jump right into it. So your buddy, your teammate, Roxanne Modafferi, coming off a tough loss last night in San Antonio. She's back home now. From what I know about Roxanne, she's probably already in better spirits, but understandably has to be bummed out from the results last night. And for the 4th time in her MMA career, had to face an opponent who did not make weight, which
we already know my feels about that.
Yeah, it brings me to the point that you have probably the most shared soundbite in the 3-year history of MMA on the Rocks, and that is your tirade about women.
No respect for these hoes.
No respect
who don't make weight. None.
So let's start there. Give me your first reaction when you first heard that Maya did not make weight for her fight with your teammate.
My first response was I shouted "what" really loud, and I woke my entire household up. Second reaction is I was pacing up and down the stairs, pissed as hell. Third reaction was I'm like, okay, the fight's gonna happen at least. My buddy gets a fight. I'm happy it didn't get called off. Fourth reaction is I hope she whooped her ass. Roxy did all she did. She landed hands, big overhands and stuff. Again, fucking fat people not making weight. It's statistically proven that overweight fighters will win their bouts, and it's disgusting. I mean, I respect Maya for what she does, etc., but I'm not going to respect anybody, male or female, who's not making weight for their fights. That is your fucking job. If you're not doing your job, get the fuck out. Get the fuck out and move up. That's all you need.
Yeah.
It's not hard.
Yeah. Sanctioned cheating, as Dominic Cruz refers to it. That's my favorite.
It is.
That's my favorite way to refer to it. And it's just so unfortunate. I mean, I understand she did take the fight on somewhat short notice, but if you're not prepared to make the weight, then, maybe pass up the opportunity or ask to push it back a little bit. It seems
like I said, Roxy in one of her last fights took the fight on 3 weeks' notice and made weight during a certain biological function, as you call it, for women. She made the weight with that. It's just like, it's downright disrespectful. And the reason I get so heated is I've never missed weight for it, even as an amateur. When basically now you see amateurs left and right missing weight and still getting opportunities. My first gym, I was in a place where a coach told me to look up weight cutting on the internet, and I cut 7 pounds of water for a same day weigh-in. Wow. I made the fucking weight and somehow won that fight, looking like a goddamn dehydrated SpongeBob SquarePants. Like, I'm ready. Most horrific time in my life, and I still made the weight, somehow won. So when I see professional athletes who are paid to come on stage and do a job, not do their job, I'm absolutely disgusted.
Yeah. And understandably so. And credit to you for doing that as an amateur. I mean, some states I know give a 9-pound allowance for amateurs because of, I guess if it's younger fighters who aren't experienced cutting weight, they give them like, yeah, I see the look on your face. And that's the reaction I had when I first heard about it. But, responsible coaches will make their fighters make the weight anyway. And there's not even like as much negotiation in the amateurs because
I know
you're not making money. If you're making money, it's not much. And then
the promoters make money off of you. I know. I remember. Yeah,
there's not much room for negotiation there. So definitely credit to you for doing your due diligence and making weight as an amateur. I think that's a very underrated quality that's not talked about enough. But let's talk about the actual fight. And I don't want to get into the judging just yet, but all across the board, the judging was kind of squirrely on this card. But let's talk about the actual performance. Roxanne, I felt like did what Roxanne does. She pressured. She was pushing forward with her boxing. She was pressing Maya up against the cage. She was trying to get the fight to the ground. She was looking in pretty good form. And then, it kind of fell apart a little bit, but I thought it was a much closer fight than the judges saw it. Give me your thoughts on the actual action, Serena.
Yeah, I mean, basically what you said was what was going on. Like, damage wears on and, people can fall apart and stuff. But yeah, the whole judging I thought it wasn't that judging. Yes, was it a loss? Yes, but it wasn't that bad. All right. There were rounds there was a round or arguably maybe, a little more that was taken, but it wasn't that bad. So I'm just like, but then again, we look at what happened with Hernandez and Cowboy, and then we can talk more about how weird the judging was that night. But it is what it is. She's going to bounce back from it. She's going to take the time to heal. And as always, she'll just jump back in the gym as soon as she's healed and ready to go as if nothing ever happened.
Yeah, and that's always been her best quality throughout her career, I feel like, is her ability to bounce back from adversity in fights and outside of fights. So I definitely wouldn't worry about that. I think she'll be right back in the mix in no time. But yeah, as far as that judging, I had the first round at least very clearly for Roxanne. I thought she controlled the pace. She had Maya in some trouble up against the cage. I don't really see how you score that round for Maya, which is why the 30-27 kind of baffled me. But we've seen worse. Jeff, do you have any thoughts on this fight?
Yeah, you basically hit the nail on the head, dude. I thought that Roxy got the first round. Her output was a lot bigger than Maya. She was up against the cage. I felt like the second round, definitely for Maya. I felt like Roxy took some hard shots in that round. And then for me, the third round was a bit of a mixed bag. I felt like that one could have gone either way. But yeah, I felt like 30-27 unanimous was a little. I felt like it wasn't a full display of how Roxy fought, especially in that first round, dude. She was making Maya breathe really heavy at the end of that first round.
Well, it's kind of easy to make someone breathe and they're pretty fat, but you know, let me just stop because I'm gonna make these jokes the entire fucking episode, man. Just
please feel free. Don't feel like you need to hold back on our account, Serena.
Okay, sounds good.
Absolutely.
you know this is a censorship-free zone. You're safe here.
It's a safe space. Oh wait.
Yeah. Well, it's far from that. But in any case, and credit to Roxanne for taking those big shots in the second round too, because when she got wobbled in that round, she was able to get her composure back quick. So that's a big credit to her cardio and her conditioning right there. Yeah,
our coaches are really good at that. We have a good strength and conditioning coach, Lawrence Pavlica. He's former pararescue, so he's like in his 50s. He's like fucking Master Roshi from Dragon Ball Z. The way how he's just like, because he's like, he does archery. He's like doing these 15-mile runs with a rock, like, you know, in the mountains and shit. Like, this dude does it all. He is like the real fucking deal. So, I mean, I was on a 2-fight skid, and then when I met him, everything turned around. Like, I started gaining muscle like I've been, and everything's been great. My weight, this is like the lowest weight I've been. I'm like, I have abs outside of fight camp. That never fucking happens. Mostly because I love pizza too much, but you know, yeah, he's the real deal. So Lorenzo of course, our head coach John Wood get a lot of credit for, you know, for the endurance, especially with Roxy. Like, she can take a fucking punch. Jesus Christ.
Yeah, for sure. And there's definitely been an apparent transformation in her body as well. I think her frame looks more muscular and athletic now than it did even when she was a weight class above, before this 125-pound division was created. So I guess that answers that question as to where that comes from, because you guys are both coming out of syndicate and training under the same coaches.
Yep. Thank you, Lorenzo. Hashtag body by Lorenzo.
All right. Shout out to Lorenzo. I might have to look up some workouts on the internet or something. See this guy. I might have to start carrying some rocks up and down the steps.
Or you might just have to come out to Vegas. Oh, that'd be such a shame.
Yeah, I might have to make my way out there, especially if there's no mosquitoes. So there's so many selling points.
No mosquitoes. We only have one hard month. That's it. Winter is great. All the snow is right on Mount Charleston. Nowhere else to be found.
That's nice. If you could just see it, but it's like nowhere near you, then that's ideal.
You just drive and you see that mountain's like, hi, snow. Glad you're far the fuck away from me. It's great. I miss the snow, but if I want, I can drive right up to that mountain and go play with it and just be like, bye.
and never have to shovel any of it or walk in it when it's all slushy and gross.
After the last time I was in a snowstorm and the snow came past my fucking knees and I had to shovel the driveway, the walkway, and everything, and it took me 3 fucking hours. I'm doing the Mike Tyson. Oh, my back is broken. It's spinal. Like, I never ever want to fucking deal with snow again, ever. Yeah. Same. That's why I live in Florida, and I love going back to New York and visiting my family, just not in the wintertime. Amen to that.
We can celebrate Christmas in July or something like that, because
there you go.
I don't plan on going up there when it's cold. All right, so let's move on to definitely props to Roxanne for her performance last night. I thought she looked good overall, and it's unfortunate things didn't go her way, but we know she's going to bounce back because she just has that kind of attitude. Now let's take a look at the main event on of this card from San Antonio. Welterweights Leon Edwards and Rafael Dos Anjos. I thought it was a great performance by Edwards. It was very technical, and
he was finding holes everywhere. Like, RDA is nothing to sneeze at, but Leon Edwards' hands and movement were just saving the day for him and just making things work. He almost made it seem seamless. It's like, hot damn. I mean, I love RDA, aka Frankenpettis, but Yeah, the night definitely belonged to Edwards. That's a Tommy Toehold joke. Shout out to Tommy Toehold. I love that dude.
Yeah, it was definitely looking good for Edwards. Very technical. I did give the second round to RDA. I thought he looked pretty good in there. But yeah, I mean, Edwards even took the fight to the ground, which he also did against Gunnar Nelson. He's been looking spectacular lately. The only place he falls short is after the fight and in between the fights. I thought his call out of Jorge Masvidal maybe could have been a little bit better. And then he said, well, if you're not going to give me him, I guess I'll fight the champion.
Yeah, it was like, wait, what? We all of Twitter and social media did a kind of thing after that. It's just like,
yeah,
yes, you're talented. Yes, you just you just fought the former champ. Let's settle down, though. I would like to see him fight Masvidal first before I think even saying championship shit.
Yeah. And personally, I think Masvidal's stock is so high right now, he's going to be able to just like decide whatever he does next.
And it's the matchup everyone wants, especially after that 3-piece in a soda episode backstage.
Mm-hmm.
Honestly, I think that's the fight to make for Edwards and Masvidal.
Yeah, it could be. But you know, Masvidal might get to call the shots on that one.
Probably.
We'll see what happens. They're probably going to let this welterweight division shuffle out a little bit. See what happens with Lawler and Covington, and then you know, Woodley doesn't have a partner yet. I think that the smart call out for Edwards would have been Woodley, because that's his fastest route to a title shot. You got a lot of things going on in this division, but if he takes out the former champ, they kind of have to put him in there with Usman.
Absolutely.
But
I
yeah,
love how fun that welterweight division is looking. Oh my God, it's so great.
It's shaping up to be a nice division. Jeff, any thoughts on this main event?
Yeah, dude. I just want to point out how big Leon Edwards looked, man. He looked like a middleweight against Rafael Dos Anjos. And that wrestling in the first round, I felt like it paid a lot of dividends throughout the fight, because after that, Dos Anjos was just exhausted, dude.
Uh-huh.
You know, credit to him for putting on such a great fight. I didn't think he was going to go the distance, actually. But, you know, credit to him. He's a tough dude. When they got to the ground, he wouldn't let Leon Edwards just have his way with him. He was looking for sweeps, trying to get out from under him, using the half guard. So, dude, Dos Anjos is all heart, dude. And like Serena, like you said, he's nothing to sneeze at. Dos Anjos is definitely a tough dude, no matter what weight class he's in.
Yeah, and these guys fought in a phone booth basically for 5 rounds. They were both right in the pocket, swinging hard on each other. Edwards was landing those nasty elbows that cut RDA open. But, you know, RDA is tough. You can never expect to go in there and finish him off in the first round. That can never be your game plan. You got to be prepared to go to war with that guy.
Absolutely.
All right. So something that didn't have to be a war was the heavyweight matchup in the co-main event. Walt Harris taking out Alexey Oleynik. 12 seconds, tied the record for the third fastest knockout in the heavyweight division. This is a tough one to watch. I am too, because I'm a big fan of Oleynik. I love his style.
I met him at the UFC Performance Institute. I was talking to Roxy as we were in the ice bath recovering. I fucking hate that ice bath, by the way. It hurts, but it's so good for you. He was with his training partner, who's in the water treadmill right on the other side. I'm telling him how Ezekiel choke is my favorite thing to do in the gi. Like how I've won tournaments just like in a minute and a half, just choking out everybody. I've even gotten Ezekiel chokes when someone's taken my back in the gi. And I told him I was just lamenting I could never get an Ezekiel choke outside the gi. So this man in his shorts, who just got out of the water treadmill himself, in a towel, shows me how to apply it, like while we're just talking. And then he lets me do it to him. And I'm like, I love this man. He's so awesome. So, of course, seeing him go out like that, like my heart shattered. I'm like, fuck this night, man.
Yeah.
This whole San Antonio card broke my fucking heart for the most part.
Yeah, and that's one thing that's pretty unique to him too. Like I'm sure he's pretty good at showing people how to do it, but pulling it off like while somebody has you mounted without a gi to help aid the grip a little bit. For those who don't know exactly what an Ezekiel choke is, that's a fucking fantastic accomplishment that not a lot of people are capable of. But, you know, credit to Walt Harris. He had a great game plan. He came in and exploded on Oleynik quick before he had a chance to get his hands on him. Oleynik came out with a really tight high guard. So what do you do when somebody has a high guard? Go in underneath it. And he did that with a knee. and which caused Oleynik to lower his hands, as a lot of wrestlers do when they get hit because they try to grab onto something. Along comes the left straight, and it's a quick night for Oleynik, and it's a really big accomplishment for Walt Harris, who's looking good.
Yeah, he is looking good. I like Harris. It's just in this fight game, you're gonna have people you like go against each other. It's always gonna break your heart. It's something you'll never get used to.
Yeah, absolutely, never. It's always tough to witness somebody that you like as a person go in there and get defeated in combat. So that's definitely something you never get used to. Jeff, give me your thoughts on this heavyweight co-main event here.
Yeah, dude, I was excited for both of these guys. You know, I'm a fan of both of them. Walt Harris, a tough dude. Alexey Oleynik, no slouch either. And I was just disappointed that it ended so fast. Like, it took a sec for my brain to process that the fight was over. I was like, Oleynik's going to just get up and choke him, right? But it wasn't meant to be, Bill. So
I'm just worried about his damn ankle. God damn, the way how he fell.
Yeah.
I saw how his ankle rolled. I'm like, oh shit, no, because I just ankles. Just after my injury with my shoulder, just anything joints involved, just scare, like worry the fuck out of me. Like, oh no, not his ankle.
Yeah, yeah. There comes a point in your life where when you hurt something, it hurts forever, and that's just part of getting old. But yeah. Oleynik, you got to admire the guy, especially because he's not a big heavyweight. Here's a guy who used to fight at middleweight when he started his career. He walks around at only like 235, which, some would argue is the perfect weight for heavyweight. But, when it comes to taking the impact from some of these bigger guys, maybe not ideal. Anyway,
he's got a fighter spirit, though. I love that about him. He just doesn't give a fuck.
Fuck yeah, he does. Anyway, that was the only heavyweight knockout worth talking about, so we could skip the next fight. And let's move on to Dan Hooker, who looked phenomenal. And Dan Hooker knocked out...
I'm so happy he did that.
Hooker...
I have no time for people who associate themselves with coaches that are rapists and enable rapists. I'm just putting that out there.
Yeah. Well, the good thing is Dan Hooker knocks out the best middleweight in the lightweight division in James Vick. When
Lord Voldemort looking ass. Yeah, exactly.
I mean, credit to him for making weight, but it's a little bit ridiculous that he's fighting at 155 pounds. This is like, he reminds
Skeletor looking ass. Oh my god.
He reminds me of like the fifth grader. He reminds me of the fifth grader who beats all the second graders at dodgeball and then brags about it. Like, you're too big to be fighting these guys. Like, fight somebody.
Dude, that's his whole entire attitude, though. He's all like, oh yeah, I'm a hunter because that's what an alpha male does. I'm like, how about you hunt because you want to have fresh food? It's like doing all these things like, oh, I'm doing this because I'm an alpha male. And I'm this, that gets knocked the fuck out. I'm like, good. Karma's a bitch, man.
Yeah, so 3 losses in a row for Vic, not looking good for him. But I was glad to see Dan Hooker bounce back from that thrashing he took from Edson Barboza, which is one of the worst beatings I think I've ever witnessed in all my years of watching MMA. So the fact that he was able to come back from that and get in there with a bigger lightweight in James Vick and still knock him out, which was a beautiful knockout, by the way. He fakes the overhand right and then steps forward with the overhand left. It was a perfect feint because he knows that Vick leans back when he ducks punches, which is something that you learn day one of boxing not to do. And then he comes forward with that overhand left, and it was just perfect timing, put him to sleep. Dan Hooker looking phenomenal, hopes to get on the Australia card coming up in the fall, November, I think. Jeff, give me your thoughts on the Hangman here.
Dude, it was awesome. It felt like they were feeling each other out a little bit at first. And then, like you said, Dan Hooker fakes the right, lands the left, and lands in a couple of shots for good measure once James Vick hits the floor. I loved it.
Excellent performance. And then Ally Quinto wants the Hangman next, and I am all for that fight. What do you think about that one, Serena?
Who would it be? I would love that. Oh my god. We got the two scared, like, we got someone who hung with Khabib for 5 rounds. Going now with Hooker. I mean, if anybody can hang with Khabib for 5 rounds, this would be a good fight. Hooker's tough. Obviously, Al is insane. So I think that'd be a great card to have on the Australia card.
Yeah, for sure. Raging Al and the Hooker. All right.
Just an average day in New York. No, let me stop.
Please don't stop. I am not going to tell you again. Don't hold back here.
I'm not.
All right. So, somebody who probably should stop is all three judges who judged the Alexander Hernandez and Francisco Trinaldo fight.
Oh my God. Yeah, dude. It's just like, everybody hold up. We're the UFC judges and we're going to rob everything. That's all that was that night. Jesus Christ.
So
I mean, Cowboy Oliveira I like and stuff, but you know, there's times I'm like, with judging, but oh my God. It's like, who the fuck was reffing that? Stevie Wonder, Ray Charles, and friggin' Helen Keller, whatever? God damn. Even my blind ass could be like, yo, this ain't right.
So here's what probably happened is the judges said, oh, this is the guy from San Antonio fighting. He's probably going to win. And then they all just played Angry Birds on their phones and didn't even watch the fight. Oh my
God, yeah. Basically.
So Alexander Hernandez moving a lot in this fight, but not really moving with purpose, just kind of bouncing around. Wasn't really trying to close the distance. On the other hand, Trinaldo wasn't really doing anything to steal the fight. I mean, he clearly won, in my opinion. I don't think it was.
Yeah, he landed more, but
it wasn't the worst robbery we've ever seen. But
yeah, he could have landed with a little more intent. But yeah, Hernandez, I think, was moving just kind of like, etch a sketch, trying to get out the way and try and find an opening that wasn't there.
Yeah, for sure. In any case, at least the judges did get one right, and that was Andrei Arlovski and Ben Rothwell. And
oh my God, dude, that was so great. I don't know how the hell Ben Rothwell was able to stand the fuck up and just keep going. And I'm surprised to see a heavyweight fight like that actually go the distance. But that was a tough fight. But I'm so happy Andre's hands have gotten better. He just found his targets. He was landing them like he made basically ground beef out of Rothwell's face. But part of me was sitting back going like, did I just get into a time machine and went back into the past like about 5-6 years? Holy shit. But yeah, those two aged like fine wine and they made a great fight. I was so happy.
It really was a rematch from 11 years ago in Affliction, where Andrei Arlovski was able to get the finish over Ben Rothwell, and his hands looked probably faster than they've ever looked. He was stifling Rothwell with the jab and following up with some awesome combinations. He was working the body, and Rothwell just looked pretty stale in there. It looked like he didn't have an answer for Arlovski. Maybe he just had a flat night, but he was always dangerous, always threatening that knockout.
Absolutely.
You could never count him out right up to the last bell when they were both kind of collapsing on each other.
My only question is, why does Rothwell always have to wear a sweater in the cage when he fights? It's just my only question. But yeah, Rothwell always is threatening, like even dead to the end. Like he was throwing stuff that was starting to stun Arlovski. I'm like, Sheldon, he's like, no!
Yeah.
I'm an Arlovski fan for life. I grew up with him. There's nothing like seeing the old guard at work and actually hanging in there.
Well, if Rothwell is wearing cashmere, then you remember the full wool sweater that Arlovski used to wear early in his career.
Oh, God, I know. It was like something out that, what was that movie, How Harry Met Sally or whatever, where that scene with the basketball, the guy who's like hairy as shit, and the guy just ran to that
Along Came Polly.
Along Came Polly there, that full sweaty man carpet, just like, I'm like, oh, God. I have two little brothers. One of them, he's 20 years old now. He was training with me, but that's why he quit jiu-jitsu. It's like there were guys who were grappling without rash guards, just full-on man carpet. And when he was on bar, it was just that whole thing was just all up in his face and shit. I'm just like, you know what? I probably would have quit too if it was that. It's like, if you're rolling with me, you better have a rash guard on. I'm gonna fucking kick you in the nuts.
I just found my new strategy to make people quit the gym that I don't like. Throwing all my rash guards away. Jeff, give me your thoughts on this heavyweight resurgence by the pitbull Andrei Arlovski here.
Dude, this fight was so exciting. It was all over the place. It was on the ground. It was with the hands. I mean, Arlovski was looking awesome. And then in that third round, we saw Ben Rothwell kind of like start fighting back a little bit. And I was like, oh, shit, here we go. And dude, it was just awesome. I love seeing Ben Rothwell like all bloodied up and just keep moving forward. You got to love both of these guys.
Yeah,
Amen.
for sure. All right. So for the sake of time, I'm going to do what we always do. I'm going to kind of breeze over a couple of fights, and then I'm going to defer to each of you and let me know, pick one of them that you want to comment on the most. So Raquel Pennington had a really tough close fight, split decision victory over Irene Aldana. She was in some really tough predicaments in that fight with the leg locks from the bottom from Aldana. Sam Alvey, for some reason, was surprised when he heard the decision that he lost to Clydeson Abreu. We already talked about Roxanne Modafferi, of course, and Jennifer Maia, so we could skip that. Ray Borg making his bantamweight debut in the UFC and, put it on Gabriel Silva. He was able to put a pace on him to get the unanimous decision there. And then the fight of the night was Mario Bautista and Jin Soo Son. Those two went the distance with Bautista getting the unanimous decision victory.
Damn, son. That's all I could say during that fight. Literally, damn, son.
that was a slugfest. So is that the one you want to give your commentary on, Serena?
I have not much of a commentary other than that was a really fun fight, and I wanted to see more of it. I wanted 2 more rounds. Because everyone's all like, oh, the prelims they're not that excited. I'm like, what? Did you just fucking miss that fight? That was awesome. But I think people were saying that because there wasn't as much finishes in the card as they were expecting.
Yeah.
But who gives a shit? Make it last. I want bloodshed. I want war. And that was exactly what that fight was.
Yeah. I think there's this fallacy of equating decisions with boring fights. And MMA fans will be like, this card sucks. There's so many decisions. And then the same MMA fans will be like, we want GSP and Khabib. It's like, well,
exactly. Oh my God. Thank you. Someone said it. Shit.
You want the 2 guys known for going to decision to fight. Yeah, MMA fans are just finicky like that. And that's why we hate them and love them at the same time. Jeff, any thoughts on the couple of fights that I just kind of breezed over there?
Yeah, dude, I got to give it to Bautista and Jin Soo Son, dude. All over the place. It was just madness. I loved it.
Yeah, for sure. That was definitely one. If you guys missed it, go back and check out that prelim. Bautista and Jin Soo Son, they were going for broke for sure. They were fighting like guys who had something to prove. This card overall, it had its low points. It tied the record for most decisions ever in UFC history. And there were some quick knockouts, but overall, I think it was entertaining and it was free. So if you want your money back, I'll write you a check personally.
Don't say that. People might take you up on your offer.
But it was free, so I'll write him a check for $0, and I'll gladly mail it to anybody too. I'll pay for the postage. Any kind of culminating thoughts on this card here, Serena?
No, just overall, I think it was a good card. I mean, sucks some fights didn't go the way I wanted to, but and the judges kind of need work. But other than that, I thought it was a really entertaining card. I liked it, so it's a good card overall. That's it.
That's all that matters.
That's all that matters. There's bloodshed. There was wars. There were fights. I don't care if there were decisions. They were good decisions. They weren't boring decisions. That's what people need to remember. If they're boring decisions, I can see the complaints. But they were exciting fights that went the distance. And people got to recognize.
It did make the night drag on a little bit. Like they had to start the main card a half hour later, I think. But, shit happens. Jeff.
That's what caffeine pills are for.
Oh, I can't touch those things. But now with a 1-year-old, it's going to wake me up at 6:30 in the morning. But Jeff, you ready to put a lid on this card or any closing thoughts you want to get off your chest?
Yeah, I think we can put a lid on this one. I thought it was going to be a little bit of a snooze fest, but it was actually really entertaining card. Even the decisions were really, really exciting fights.
Awesome. Well, I want to get into next week's card, UFC 240. That is in Edmonton, Alberta, Canada. But before that, Serena, we do have you on the show, so let's talk about you a little bit. Last time we spoke to you, you were just coming off of your shoulder surgery. How's that healing up? How's your training going? Do you have anything you're working on the horizon?
My shoulder healed tail end of February. I'm feeling great. There's no problems whatsoever anymore, and I basically regained all the strength I lost. And even more so, like I said before, I'm 10 pounds lighter than I usually am. I have abs outside of fight camp. I'm really putting myself out there. We had some fights that we were looking at out of country that kind of fell apart. But the little birdie told me that some exciting things might happen this fall. I can't say anything, but at least I might have something to look forward to, given that this doesn't fall apart. But I'm still going to stay just in shape, just in case something else drops. Other than that, everything's really going well. I have new shirts out. Actually, there's shirts, tank tops, rash guards, and even little baby onesies in case you want to get one for your little one.
Oh,
so,
nice. Yeah.
Yeah, so I have that thanks to Unknown MMA.
And let the people know where they can find those.
They can go to Unknown MMA on Twitter. They have a website that leads right over it. I'll also be posting links, later today and throughout the week. It supports me in my training and everything because all I do is a lot of freelance work and teaching kids, because when you're a full-time, fighter and training, it's kind of hard to get a regular job.
Yeah, and that's something that people need to understand too. It's not just, buying a cool shirt to support the athlete by walking around with the shirt on, but you're supporting the athlete by giving them the commission that they make on those shirts so that they can train and, eat healthy foods and make weight.
So in turn, we can deliver great fights, because you know what? I miss taking people's heads off with kicks and stuff.
Well, we're definitely looking forward to seeing you do that again, and we look forward to hearing that news and sharing it with the world for sure.
Nice.
So what else is going on in your world?
I'm going to Otakon, which is one of the biggest anime conventions in the country. Next week with Roxy, we're going to be doing a MMA demonstration there. Given things that have just happened, I'm going to be probably doing a lot of the movements myself with some help. But yeah, we're going to do that. And then the week after, I'm off to go see Invicta in Kansas City, just to show my support and just see how the fights. There's 2 bantamweight matchups I want to see, so I just want to see what's there in the bantamweight division right now and what I need to look for.
Are you planning to make this trip to Kansas City, prepared to make weight so that if something were to happen in those bantamweight fights, you could just step up on the scale?
Yeah, just do the Joe Lozon. Absolutely.
Yeah, for sure. So that would be awesome. So we'll have to keep our eyes peeled on that just in case. Yeah. So where does this anime convention take place?
This will be in Washington, D.C. So I'll be there pretty much for the 3-day weekend. So next Friday, Saturday, and Sunday we're going to be there. And it's kind of nice because finally we're in this era where now anime and fighting are kind of having a little bit of a crossover. I mean, I remember like almost a decade ago, if I was talking anime to my training partners, they're like, "What the fuck are you talking about, Serena? Do we look like nerds?" And then if I talked like fighting to my nerdy friends, they'd be like, "Serena, do we fucking look athletic to you?" Because back in the day, before I started training, I was actually a power lifter. So my PR personal record was like 315 for the squats and stuff like that.
Wow.
So I was out, but I was also fat. I was like 180. So I was like that chubby, I was like that fluffy power lifter. So I had that fluffy strength, as I call it, which I still kind of talk about time to time. But it was nowadays we can talk about. I kind of compare it to cultural appropriation, but yeah, it's like everything I got picked on, or at least people tried to pick on me for in school, are now like, "Oh wow, anime is so cool." It's like, get the fuck out of here, you loser! You got into this because now it's cool. Fuck y'all.
Yeah, I know Jeff can definitely relate because he's got his circle of friends that are into the anime and the card games and stuff like that, and then he's got his MMA circles he runs with. So Jeff, if you have any follow-up questions, this is more your territory than mine.
I'm actually drawing a blank. I didn't know that that convention was going to be in DC.
What?
I might have a couple of friends going to that though.
Good. You should come too.
Jeff, that's a short train ride. You just hop on that Amtrak.
Dude, I was in Philadelphia. I made it all the way down, driving the I-95 down to Baltimore and DC. I mean, come on, it's not that bad. It's not that bad. You should go.
Yeah, well, might have a chance to check it out. Then I can give Bill a live report there.
Yeah, absolutely. Go. Hey, you got to.
And they do have media things. So like we have interviews and stuff happening too. Be a shame if you got all the way down there and filed last minute to be a media reporter too. I mean,
yeah, Jeff, I might have to send you to cover this. You're gonna have to video this MMA demonstration. So that I'm putting you on assignment, Jeff.
Hey, have him bring lots of beer.
Bring lots of beer, Jeff. Golden monkeys.
Golden monkeys, got it.
All right, so we got the MMA convention. Shoulders feeling good. You might jump on that Invicta card last minute in Kansas City. So keep an eye out for the Southpaw Outlaw there. Let's talk about some MMA that's on the horizon here. So July 27th in Canada, UFC 240. Max Holloway putting his featherweight title on the line, coming off the loss at lightweight to Dustin the Diamond Poirier, and he's going to be defending his title against Frankie Edgar. This is an awesome fight. And when you see these two standing next to each other, you have to wonder how not only did Frankie Edgar fight at lightweight, but how he was the champion there, because Max Holloway just towers over him. And I want to get both your takes on this. Serena, what do you think about this main event?
I'm super excited for it. Yeah, Max went the distance with Poirier. I mean, for the most part, like he held on really well with Poirier for that fight. So if he can hang with Poirier, I think he can hang with Frankie. I mean, Frankie was a champion, yeah, but the divisions have grown a long fucking way since then.
Mm-hmm.
And now there's a lot more talent. It's a lot more dangerous. But I'm looking forward to a slugfest. That's what I think Max is going to be making, is a slugfest. Maybe Frankie might want to wrestle some more and try and negate it, but I got Max for this one.
Yeah, I mean, Frankie Edgar, his MO is mixing things up, and I think he's one of these guys that people continually underestimate for whatever reason and just forget how good he is. He basically was the champion at his walk-around weight before he moved down to featherweight and, hit a couple of roadblocks there against, Jose Aldo in the best. A lot of people think he's the best featherweight of all time. Jeff, give me your thoughts on this main event here.
Dude, I'm amped for this one. Bill, you know how big a fan I am of Frankie Edgar. He's a Jersey boy like me. He's one of the toughest dudes out there, whatever weight class he's in. And Max Holloway is no slouch either. He's the champ for a reason. I really don't know how this one's going to go. I mean, my heart says Frankie Edgar, but my head says Max Holloway because of like you said, the reach advantage. Max Holloway, just like Frankie Edgar, is very well-rounded. He has really slick jiu-jitsu, has the long arms to set up chokes and stuff, and he's really good on the feet too. So I really don't know how this one's going to go. But, whatever happens, Frankie Edgar's in there to make it a war.
Yeah, for sure. I think the biggest X factor here is going to be Max Holloway's weight cut, because in his last fight, he was able to go up to 155. Maybe he didn't do that cut properly. Maybe he wasn't feeling his best. Just because you're allowed to have 10 more pounds doesn't mean that you're doing it the right way. Maybe he felt like he could lift more weights. Maybe he felt like he could eat some things that he hadn't normally been eating, and it affected his body in a weird way. Now he's got to have to drop back down. And he's a big boy. I mean, you see him walking around, he looks like a middleweight, and he somehow makes 145 pounds. So I think that's the one X factor there. The co-main event, we have Cyborg coming back, and she's taking on the undefeated Felicia Spencer. We're going to have to see how Cyborg bounces back. She took a big knockout loss to Amanda Nunes. Is she going to have the Alex Hernandez scenario where she's in there and hesitant and not really pulling the trigger? Or is she going to come out, with a fire under her ass, looking for redemption and looking for that rematch with Amanda Nunes, which I believe the UFC will try to set up should she be victorious. Serena, give me your thoughts on this co-main event here.
I think, honestly, Cyborg's going to have a fire under her ass. I mean, this is her first loss in God knows how long. And she's going to have a longer reach than Spencer, in my opinion. I think the worst thing you could ever have is the fire under Cyborg's ass, is because she's going to come for murder. She's going to come for blood and try to feel like at least mentally erase the loss from her last fight in. So I think it's going to be a tough time because Cyborg's no slouch on the ground. If Felicia can somehow negate the reach advantage of Cyborg and try and wrestle, girl's won lots of medals in jiu-jitsu and stuff. And if I remember correct, she's like a brown belt in jiu-jitsu. She hasn't gotten her black belt yet. So honestly, I'm thinking Cyborg, as long as her headset's there and she's ready to rock, I mean, I honestly see just almost no way. I mean, I love Spencer. Don't get me wrong. Felicia's cool, but I don't see many ways for Spencer to take this.
Yeah, I mean, at 5'6", it's gonna be a struggle to close that distance.
Hold up. I'm 5'7". I didn't know she was 5'6". I knew she was at my height, but holy shit.
Yeah.
Don't worry,
And,
it's okay. Stout power. Stout power is the way to go. Go Felicia. Do your thing.
I agree. I happen to be in the same category. And I'm used to sparring with people much, much larger than me as well. But I think another factor here is
I've been like one of the smallest people at the gym this week, and I don't know how the hell I've been doing it.
That's the story of my life. Welcome to my world, Serena. So the other factor here is, has Felicia been facing stiff enough competition to be able to get in there with someone like Cyborg? Her last win was a submission victory over Megan Anderson, who we saw from her transition into the UFC that it's a completely different ball game from Invicta. Yeah. As tough as the fighters are there, especially at this upper weight class, I think is the biggest determining factor. Mm-hmm. There's just still such a divide. It's still such a young weight class. And the talent levels there's a lot of discrepancies there from the top to close to the top. Jeff, give me your thoughts on this co-main event here.
Yeah, dude, I'm with Serena on this one. I don't see a scenario where Cyborg doesn't win this one. I mean, like you said, a bunch of medals in jiu-jitsu, so we know she's got the grappling, and when in doubt, Cyborg can punch it out. So there's that.
Yeah, I think definitely I'll reiterate again. I think a big win here for Cyborg will earn her a rematch with Amanda Nunes. I think that's pretty much already set in stone. And Amanda is, I think, game for that. She wants to prove it wasn't a fluke the first time and, show once and for all that she's the better fighter and be the first fighter, male or female, to defend 2 titles in 2 weight classes.
I know, it's actually great. She'd actually be a real champ, unlike some other fighter we all know.
Yeah, well, she was the first one to go back and defend her original weight class, male or female. Mm-hmm. So,
unlike the other person who claims to be a champ.
Mm-hmm. Unlike the other 3 champs, because none of them have done it. So awesome card at the top. The fight I have been most excited about on this one is Jeff Neal and Nico Price, just because I feel like this is going to be a total war. I'm going to give you guys a couple of other names here, and then you let me know what piques your interest the most. So we got that one. We got Olivier Aubin-Mercier and Arman Tsarukyan. We got Marc-Andre Barriault and Christoph Jotko. Let me see what other names are jumping off the page here to me. Yeah. So out of those, Serena, what
I'm just excited for Nico. Just anything Nico involved is always going to be fun.
Yeah.
All of his fights just bring a big smile to my face.
That guy's a wild man.
He just scraps and doesn't give 2 fucks. I aspire to not give as much fucks as that man.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, knocking people out from like inside his guard on the bottom. That was one of the craziest knockouts I've ever seen. But Jeff Neal, no slouch either. So you could bet he's going to get right in there in Nico's face, and that's going to make for some awesome action.
That's what's going to make it even better.
Mm-hmm.
I can't wait.
Jeff, what's piquing your interest on this card outside of the main and co-main events?
All right, I'm really excited for the Nico Price Jeff Neal fight, but the fight I'm most interested in, and this is more like a personal thing, is Olivier Aubin-Mercier. He's been, not looking like 100% his last couple of fights, but I've always been a fan of his. I've always felt like he has a ton of potential, and I'm excited to see him get back in there and see if his mindset, he fixed a little bit, and see if he can get back in the win column.
Yeah, for sure. That's going to be an exciting one for the Canadian crowd, for sure. We got Jillian Robertson getting in there with Sarah Frota, who's coming off a loss in her UFC debut. She's a Dana White Contender Series fighter. So that should be an interesting one in the strawweight division. And other than that, it's gonna be a tough sell. It's gonna be tough to expect people to open their wallets for this card. I anticipate a lot of complaining on the social media. As usual,
everybody complains on social media. Just fuck them.
Yeah, fuck them, indeed. And the UFC is not too concerned about pay-per-view sales anyway, especially since it's hard enough to buy the damn pay-per-view on the ESPN Plus app. I don't know if you've
Yeah,
been.
because it always. Oh my God, I fucking hate that thing. Like, I have a love-hate relationship with it. I have it just because, I'm always out and about. I'm like almost never home. These are like the rare moments I'm actually sitting in my apartment, not doing anything.
Mhm.
So I have the ESPN thing on my phone so I can just watch on the go. But God damn it. With the streaming, I mean, it's choppy. It's not on time, and I have to reset the app. It's horrible. I mean, if I'm paying money for something, I want quality at the product at least.
Yeah, and I don't watch other sports personally, but I imagine they're not having this kind of trouble with like the baseball streaming
No, they're not. Not even DAZN is like doing a better job with its streaming services. It's like, dude, you have the Disney money. What the fuck gives? DAZN does not have Disney money, and they're doing better. Get your shit together.
for sure. But they have that overseas wherever the fuck they're from money that comes from you know, I don't know, oil
Who
or
cares?
whatever,
Yeah.
human
Still,
trafficking.
Black market organ donors. No, let me stop. Like something out of Max Payne 3. No, let me stop.
All right. So Edmonton, Alberta, Canada. If you guys want to meet the Southpaw Outlaw, you guys can check out the Anime Con in Washington, D.C.
Otakon.
Otakon.
Otakon or bust. Let's go to DC and do cool shit with cool people.
Yeah, Otakon
That's all
and
I do. Yeah, do dope shit with dope people. Come on down.
For sure. And we're going to put Jeff on an Amtrak train and get him down there too to cover this live.
Yeah.
Well, I think we pretty much covered everything going on. Serena, do you have any shout outs? You want to let the people know where to find you on social media? We got the Unknown MMA where they can buy their Ringzilla t-shirts. What else you want to shout out here?
Just everybody follow me. I'm pretty much everywhere at Serena Southpaw. Just keep an eye out for any announcements and cool shit I'm going to do. Big shout out to Unknown MMA for making my fight gear. So guys, seriously, go pick yourself up a rash guard, pick yourself up a tank top, a t-shirt, a hoodie, or for your little babies, get yourself a little onesie, show your support. Yeah, and thanks to all my sponsors and my team, Syndicate MMA, for keeping me in shape, ready to go. And thanks to all my friends and fans who support me.
Awesome. Well, hopefully it won't be 6 months before we have you back on again. Hopefully we'll have some exciting news and we can invite you back on to share that with us. So definitely thanks for taking the time, especially, the day after your teammate just fought. And I know she just got home and you're going to want to decompress with her a little bit. And I know you got a lot going on today. So thanks for taking the time, Serena.
But it's the buddy day. Don't worry though. So
you guys are going to go watch The Lion King.
Buddy is somehow running around here freezing in a hoodie and everything, and I'm just going to let her do her thing. So I'll see what's going on after we hang up.
Sounds good. Jeff, you got anything you want to get off your chest?
Yeah, just Serena, thanks for being a friend of the show. Thanks for being on the show today. I'm definitely going to try and check you guys out over at Otakon next weekend. I actually just texted my friends to see if we can get some tickets.
All right.
Nice.
Awesome.
Nice.
Thanks, guys.
Live coverage from Jeff the Animal Wilson, who you can follow on Twitter and Instagram at @animal_Wilson. You guys know how to get a hold of me. It's at MMA on the Rocks. By the way, I almost forgot. Scotch month. This whole time I've been sipping Talisker Storm. It is a peated scotch. So if you think scotch shouldn't be peated, I guess, go fuck yourself. This stuff is delicious.
Damn straight. That's what I'm talking about.
That's my plug. They're not even a sponsor, but that's delicious stuff. I always have a bottle of that in my bar. It's peated, so it's smoky. It's like if you took some honey and put some black pepper on it and just kind of let it melt on your tongue. It is fucking delicious.
Ah, it sounds delicious.
Maybe they'll be a sponsor now.
That reminds me, I gotta have that honey pepper Nemirov vodka that I got a little while ago. That stuff's delicious.
We're gonna need a full report on that as well.
Hell yeah.
All right, so that's it. Serena, you can follow her at Southpaw Outlaw. No,
Serena Southpaw.
Serena Southpaw. I was gonna say it right the first time. I thought I could get away with not writing it down. Serena Southpaw on the social media.
Jeff.
Go follow her. All right. For Jeff the Animal Wilson, my name is Bill Welker. Until next time, cheers, everybody. Goodbye.
Woo!